Welcome. Today we're diving into something that honestly feels like it's straight out of a disaster movie, but it's not. It's grounded in some very serious science. You know, when we think about nuclear war, our minds usually go straight to the blast, right? The mushroom cloud. But it turns out the single deadliest consequence is what happens after. And to really get a handle on the sheer scale of what's at stake, let's just start with a number.
Right now, there are over 7 billion people on this planet. That's you, me, everyone we know, and billions we don't. Just kind of hold that massive number in your head for a second, because it's at the very heart of the question we're about to ask.
So, what on earth could possibly kill the vast majority of those people, not over a century, but in just 2 years? The answer isn't some killer asteroid or a supervirus from a lab. No, it's a chain of events that scientists have modeled for decades. It's a predictable, entirely man-made catastrophe that would kick off after a major nuclear war.
To really understand this threat, we have to get our heads around the scale. This wouldn't be just another war. It would be an event that literally splits human history in two, everything that came before and the unimaginable world that comes after.
So let's try to put this into perspective. Think about the deadliest conflict in all of human history, World War II. Over 6 brutal years, it killed about 75 million people. A full-scale nuclear war, on the other hand, could kill 360 million in the first 3 weeks. That's almost 5 times the death toll of WWI in a tiny, tiny fraction of the time. The numbers are just staggering. But let's move beyond those giant, abstract numbers. For the people who survived the initial blasts, what would those first few hours even be like? Well, the entire framework of modern life, everything we depend on, would basically switch off in minutes.
See, high-altitude detonations would create something called an electromagnetic pulse. Think of it as a giant, invisible wave that fries electronics, instantly. So in the first minute, all communication vanishes. No phones, no internet, nothing. 5 minutes in, hospitals go dark. Life support systems start failing. 30 minutes in, transportation is dead. Gas pumps need electricity, so cars, trucks, trains, they all grind to a halt. And within a single hour, any chance of a coordinated emergency response is just gone. Society would unravel faster than we can even comprehend.
And as terrifying as all that is, it's just the opening act. The real global catastrophe isn't the blast or the fallout. It's a side effect that would fundamentally change the planet's climate. And it all starts with fire.
Okay, so let's walk through how this works. Hundreds of nukes hitting cities and forests would ignite these massive firestorms on a scale we've never ever seen. These fires are so intense they actually create their own weather, forming these colossal smoke clouds that act like giant chimneys. They would punch up to 150 million tons of black soot straight up into the stratosphere. And that's the key. It's so high up that there's no rain to wash it out. So this layer of soot just spreads, wrapping around the entire globe and blocking the sun.
And this whole terrifying phenomenon, it has a name: nuclear winter. That's not a new ice age exactly, it's a sudden man-made climate shift that would plunge the entire planet into a deep, dark cold that could last for years. So, what happens to a world without sunlight? I mean, our entire civilization is built on one simple thing: farming. And farming depends on sunlight and predictable seasons. You take those away, and the whole foundation of our survival just crumbles. In the scenario scientists have run, a major nuclear war would cause global calorie production to crash by 90%. 90. Temperatures in places like the American Midwest or Ukraine would drop below freezing, even in the middle of summer. Growing seasons would just vanish, and the global food supply would be completely destroyed. And the result of that is, it's almost too horrible to say out loud. Even a smaller regional war, say between India and Pakistan, could trigger a famine that kills up to 2 billion people. A full-scale war between the US and Russia? Well, after the initial 360 million deaths from the blasts, the global starvation that follows could kill another 5 billion. And that's when it really hits you. The ultimate weapon of mass destruction isn't the bomb itself, it's the famine it creates. Okay, so after laying all of that out, it is really easy to feel, well, completely hopeless. I get it. But this is not a prophecy. This future is not set in stone. It's a choice. And for decades, humanity has actually been making choices to pull back from this exact cliff edge.
And here's some really important good news. We have made incredible progress. At the absolute peak of the Cold War, the world had something like 70,000 nuclear warheads. Today, that number is down around 12,000. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still way too many. But that downward trend is real and it is significant.
So how did we do it? not with some magic bullet. We did it with slow, boring, often frustrating, but incredibly powerful tools. Things like disarmament, treaties to stop the spread of these weapons, and the constant, hard, thankless work of diplomacy. These are the tools that have kept the peace.
And this kind of brings us to a final, really critical thought from the filmmaker Neil Halloran. Our ability to destroy ourselves is pretty terrifying, but it's matched by our capacity for cooperation and for brilliant problem solving. Making sure this future never happens isn't about one single action. It's about a constant, vigilant effort by all of us to ensure our cleverness is used to preserve our world, not to end it. The risk is never zero, but our future absolutely depends on us working together to keep it as low as we possibly can.